It is Friday, September 19th. Time to say goodbye to San Sebastian, Donostia. We took a 4-hour Flixbus. We got the whole front row so we could get a great view of the trip. The bus actually stops in Bayonne, France before it makes its way to Bordeaux. This is the reason for the longer travel time, but with free Wi-Fi, you're connected to the web so you can social media your way there. Okay, we are in Bordeaux. Tried to get on another bus, but I had to require an app, etc., etc. Just decided to do Uber. Able to fit everything. Prius. Made it work on our way to the hotel. Cyclists up on the road. Commuter dressed appropriately. Cycling. Okay.
I think may daan doon. I know, kasi budget.
Got ourselves some decent accommodations, basically bed, bathroom, and an Ibis hotel, as we had no plans of hanging out at that place. Well, maybe just for breakfast. Budget. You can actually fit 3 people in here.
Once we put our stuff on top of the bed, of the bunk bed.
No, you got your own plug. There's a lot of room up here. It is the afternoon. We find ourselves in the middle of Bordeaux, looking for a place to eat. A lot of the restaurants are actually closed. Hardly very warm. Temperature is 89 degrees. I guess it's not a good idea to arrive early afternoon because all the places near the hotel are closed, near the hotels. But the tourist areas, a lot of them are still open. And there's lots of people. Something must be going on here. The famous Rue des Cathedrals, which is supposedly one of the longest shopping streets in France and in the world, I guess. I don't know. Here's how it looks. We'll see if we can keep ourselves from spending too much money. We find ourselves once again at a place of historic significance. This is the Cathedral of St. in Bordeaux. Another impressive feat of engineering and design. You'll notice the tower there is separate from the cathedral, as far as I can remember from my readings. It had something to do with funding and structural integrity. We further explored the city on foot. We didn't really have any hard plans for how to hit the tourist spots. I did have a few places I wanted to check off, such as the Place des Bordeaux. You see the reflection of the thing?
Martina, stand there close to that.
If you take a picture right now, you can see the sky on the ground there. So standing here in front of the Place des Bordeaux, it's exact time that they drain the water to create the reflection. That is the artwork here.
Take it from down here.
Here we are at Petit Mignon, and this is what we ordered. We've got a separate video on what we did on day 2, our bike tour. So we'll pick up on day 2 after we come back from our bike ride. We basically made our way to a late lunch. Leal de Bacala. Akawan Hall. Let's get food. Oh, here, a sandwich. I want something with oysters. So this is sandwiches, bowls, and hummus. Okay, this is what we're going to have for lunch. Seafood in Bordeaux. There we go. Okay, now the and okay, after a full day of exploring the city, then exploring the food. And we are at the Place de Quinzones. This is the statue. On our last day, we made sure to hit this famous market, Marché des Capucines, for brunch. The whole place closes at 2 p.m., so we had to get in there to get a spot to eat. Okay, here we are at Marché des Capucines, a local market, famous for local artisans from the area. Very diverse, so you get a diversity of food and available products over here. Mostly food. First, it was just me and the wifey, so we sat down and grabbed a seafood breakfast. Not really sure if oysters and shrimp are a good first meal, but when in France... And here's breakfast, mid-breakfast, it's brunch. This is the upsell, lost in translation. We only ordered this, but this came, so, oh well. Afterwards, we headed a little bit away from town. So we are on a tour of the Chateau Clermont. There we learned a little bit more about some history, how Pope Clement had actually been a pope outside of Rome, and how he was tied to this particular winery.
The stone of Jesus, and this is the symbol of the cake of the paradise.
The tour guide explained the winemaking process from planting to harvest, storage and fermentation.
In Gironde, we can do Bordeaux.
It was quite a bit of information, which was interesting even for someone like myself who doesn't drink.
Then we will have another sorting, an optical sorting with a machine. Maybe you see we have later. So here in front of you, this is the vintage 2024.
The tour ended with some sampling of the winery's products. The wine museum. The day ended for us in the wine museum as Trina and I chose to go in and experience what the world-class facility had to offer. It's like being in a planetarium, and where you fall asleep watching a video on the sun. Site du Vin is truly impressive. The downside was that just a couple of hours ago we had already gone through this information at the winery tour. But of course, when presented with a context of world history and industry and in multimedia, this place was a standout. I would highly recommend it to anyone visiting Bordeaux who is even the slightest interested in wine. Oh, it's counting how many wines. Our last dinner in Bordeaux was at a local steakhouse, whose name I can't even remember, but as usual, the food was good, ambiance very relaxed. Bordeaux has a lot to offer in terms of history and culture, especially if you're a wine lover and if you want to avoid droves of tourists. With their perfect mix of modernity and technology accessible to the public, I imagine life is truly very different here. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next vlog. Bye!